It'll cut it off. I already got some blooms right here on top starting to make. I don't know whether you can see that or not. Let's see what the roots look like on this baby. Hosenator. Oh yeah, look at that. So I'm replanting these earth boxes with fall tomatoes. Now, where did I get fall tomatoes? They're hard to find. I always call, I go to the Walmart, I go to my feed store, I go everywhere. Just nobody grows fall tomatoes. So I grew them myself. I started these, I want to say 6 weeks ago. This is the very last day of August. Started these, you know, I would say at least the middle of July, and they look great. Show them to you in just a second. But here's what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. In an earth box, you can plant 2 tomatoes. You plant one on each side. You got a fertilizer strip on one side, and you plant the tomatoes on the opposite side. Because I was going to have to pull out all the tomato residue, root balls and stuff like that, it was just really going to make a mess here on my pretty little black carpet here. So, and I was going to lose a lot of potting mix, which is dadgum expensive right now, in case you didn't know. So what I decided to do was to cut those tomatoes off, flush with the soil. I even got down in there a little deeper. I'll show you in just a minute what I used. So instead of planting 2 and using the same spots where they were, which is going to be full of roots, even if I get a lot of the roots out, I'm planting one in the middle, and I planted a couple of them already, and found that it's not real clustered with root residue from the 2 outside plants that I just cut off. So I'm putting one in the middle, but I think it's going to work great. Maybe my new fall thing, and maybe you want to make it your fall thing. So as I say, these are red snappers, which is these are from Haas. Haas is not necessarily the only one that sells them, but good tomato. Red snapper, Hosenator, 2 of my favorite. And so what I'm doing, there's a fertilizer strip, an old fertilizer strip right here on this side. I'm rolling it back and trying to get deep enough to get some of the fertilizer. I don't put my fertilizer strips very, so you probably can't see that, but there's some fertilizer residue right there. Some little balls that didn't, fertilized balls that didn't dissolve. I try not to put in my fertilizer too deep here, because I know I'm probably going to pull it up, whether it be now or in winter time. So I just go ahead and do it kind of shallow and put just a little bit of dirt on top of it for that reason. I'm putting triple 13 in these. I don't have much 10-20-10. I'm gonna do an experiment back on some of the back ones and do some 10-20-10, because I've got a little bit left, but not enough for all these tomatoes. I'm doing a little bit more than a pound, and the reason is this fertilizer, you can see it's kind of yellowish looking. It's heavy. It's been sitting in a humid barn, and I think actually the bottom of the sack got a little wet at one time. I had some rain come in or something. So I think that's a pound, even though it weighs much more than a pound. I think that's about what a pound of fertilizer would be. Putting it in there real good. Spread it kind of evenly across there. And then I'll just fold that material back on top of it, which is really not putting the old fertilizer back in it, in the hole, in the trench. At least not much. And then I'm brushing this back. If you've been watching me very long, you know that I don't use covers on my earth boxes anymore. I did for 2 or 3 years till I started pricing them. They got a little expensive. They're not expensive, but they got expensive to ship. That, and I've got 22 earth boxes, so buying covers for all of them does get a little expensive. So I'm coming in here and cutting a hole for this tomato plant, and I can feel root resistance. Maybe you can hear that kind of sawing through, and that's my Hori knife. I've got 2. This is my favorite. And what I've been doing is, when I pull that plug out of there, that soil plug, is just rolling it into over here to keep it, to hold it, because I'm going to put it right back on top. I brought some potting mix with me, but so far I haven't needed it. Now these, again, are a red snapper. I'm gonna put the little card there. The other ones had real good root systems. I expect this one too also. These are just red solo cups. And I don't know whether you can see that or not, but really good root system all the way around, even down in the bottom. One of the other red snappers had roots coming out of the hole I put in the bottom. So I failed to do something. I'm gonna pull these lower limbs off. I don't like pinching, but it works pretty good. And it's an earth box, and it's got a bottom down there, so you can't really go deep. You know, you'd love to plant a tomato real deep. You can't go real deep when you're planting in an earth box because it does have a bottom to it. But you can get down there and plant deep enough. And this soil is wet, moist, because I had tomatoes in here, so I kept the irrigation going. And there's some of the residual roots from the old plant, you know, came up with it. So I'm trying not to incorporate it back in the soil. I'm doing that, and I think I am going to get a little bit of potting mix to put right there, kind of raise that up. I just brought a dab of it up here with me. This is just a generic potting mix that I buy. Hadn't bought any quite a while because once I did these earth boxes, once I did my wicking tubs, they're done, you know, and that soil will last. I get asked that some. That soil will last. That potting mix, your mix in your wicking tubs, earth boxes, containers, whatever, will last a number of years, 5, 6, 7 years, who knows. And I don't know what to look for to tell when it's starting to play out. Let me tell you my concerns about planting with leaving the two masses of tomato roots, root balls over here, planting in the middle. Even though I cut it loose, cut it out, kind of sifted out some of the roots and stuff, you know, my concern would be that this tomato is that the tub is kind of root bound, and that this tomato is not going to have a chance to really go out and go out in the world and seek its own fortune there. But I don't think that's true. I think it really will, because those roots they weren't all that congested. They weren't all that, they are over here and they are over here. But I think this tomato has plenty of room. I think, we're gonna find out, you and me both. But I think this tomato, the tomato in the middle here, is gonna have plenty of room to go this way toward the fertilizer, to go this way, and even this way. And I think because these, now that I've cut them off, these roots are going to start rotting pretty quick with that water, that moisture in there. They should start rotting pretty quick. The roots of this little plant should permeate the root balls that I left in there, that were the two of them on the side. That's what I'm trying to say. So let's plant another one. Let me show you, to make sure you get it all, and you might want to do something like this. If not this year, certainly next year. All right, I think my camera's going to overheat, so I need to hurry, roll that back. I know I may overheat too. I have waited. The plants got real big, and the reason they got so big, I would have planted earlier, but it's just been so hot, and I was really scared to put them out here, even with shade cloth. I was kind of a little concerned to put them out here. So anyway, let's roll that back. And put in the requisite amount of fertilizer, which is about what would be a pound if the fertilizer wasn't so wet or so moist, hydrated, you know what I'm saying. And it may, that the fertilizer being a little wet may cause it not to be all that good right now. I don't know. We're gonna find out. I think it's good enough to get a mater going. So pull this back, dig down in here. We're gonna make a hole for another red snapper in a solo cup. Cut that out. And I don't feel a lot of resistance in these middles. Not as much as I thought I would, because I really figured the whole dadgum thing was just full of root balls, full of roots, but it's really not. There's a good hole right there. And these plants, this one's 12, 14 inches tall. I've got some of the Hosenator, and I'll show you those. Cut these limbs off. That are 16, 18, maybe almost 2 feet tall. Planted at the same time. Hosenator just grows faster. They really do. You know, they're a little more productive. I like the tomato better, I think. So most of what I'm planting is Hosenator. I'm planting what grew. I mean, I just didn't have very many red snapper seeds in July. I should have got some more, but I didn't. But just pack it in there good. I'm going to water them, but you know, the soil is so moist in these earth boxes, I don't know that it's necessary. I tell you what, let me do a Hosenator and show you the difference in the plants, and I'll pick a good one. I'll pick a big one. So this that is the Hosenator. Again, same age as the snappers, and look at that. Now I've had these under my well house. I've got a roof on my well house, and they've been sitting on top of the well and in water, watering from the roots. Put a little bit of Hos complete organic fertilizer, just sprinkled right here, watered them in good. I may try to get this one a little deeper if I can, because man, it's tall. Still, I've already got some blooms right here on top starting to make. I don't know whether you can see that or not. 1, 2, 3, 4 blooms. I'm not going to pull them off because I just don't know whether we're going to, I don't know. I typically you pull off blooms when you plant, but I'm not, because it's fall, and I'm afraid. It's cool right now, and I say cool, it's 85. But I'm sure we got some hot weather coming, and I just don't know whether they need, I don't know. I don't know whether they need all the leaves on them. I don't know whether they need to be deep. I would think depth would help them if we have another heat spell, and I'm sure we will. But anyway, get some of that old fertilizer out and just kind of mix it in on top with the mulch, and that way I don't have to just throw it away, because it'll help the mulch to turn into compost. So just do that. Get my trusty little thing to do. That's triple 13. The backside I'm going to do 10, 20, 10, so I can do an apples orange thing here. Apples orange comparison. Apples orange something. All right. We're going to put this big boy right there, and just tell him to get after it, because he looks good. Now I do see quite a bit of roots. This was a it's a Roma tomato that has, there's quite a bit of roots there. And I noticed these Roma tomatoes, and I'll have to put the name on the screen now, because I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly the name of them. They were supposed to be heat tolerant, and they really are, because I've still got, they're not all that tasty, because they've just been in 95, 98 degree heat. They're not all that tasty, but they're pretty good, you know. For this time of year, and for the plants to be that old, you know, planted in, I don't know, May or something, they haven't done too bad at all. I'm impressed with them. I think I will definitely plant them next year. All right, let's see what the roots look like on this baby. Hosenator. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, good looking set of roots. And I'm gonna go deep. I'm gonna get down in there. In fact, I think I'm gonna take off that little limb right there. I hate to pinch them off. I wish I had a thing, a knife or something. Get them down in there. Now that's almost sitting on that grate that's on the bottom of these. Almost. I don't think I quite hit it, but it's down there, and there's a lot of roots here. You can see the roots in that. So these Roma type tomatoes from Haas really grew well. They did well in the summer. Tasty tomato. And I'm seeing now that one of the reasons is because they had a really nice root system, bigger than the snappers. Now I hadn't got over to to the house yet. These are all that I'm replacing right here, except for these Roma tomatoes. Those were red snappers. So anyway, I may put just a touch of potting mix on it just to get it up to level. Don't really need it, but I will. And then bring the mulch back on top of it. We still got hot weather coming. But this has got 4 blooms on it. I truly expect it to take off and produce on those 4 blooms. I'm torn about whether to pull the blooms off or not. I normally do in the springtime, but I'm just torn about doing it right now. I don't think I will. But I wanted to show you the tomato, planting the tomatoes, and also I need to show you this. That is about the sweetest thing I have bought in a long time. That is a handheld, cordless, electric pruner. And it will cut stuff well over an inch. And I just dug it down in there and got those tomato plants well below the soil line. You can't even see them. I mean, there's tomato plants, and there's the top of one right there. And just basically get up under there, and it'll cut it off. Man, you talk about it. And I've done a bunch of pruning on my fig trees and stuff. If you don't have one of these, and I didn't have one, I didn't even know they made them till just recently. You might want to look at something like that. Now, I was touring between a DeWalt and a Ryobi, because I have Ryobi tools and DeWalt. I went ahead and got the DeWalt, but if all you have is Ryobi tools, pretty sure they make one. I'll link to this one. I'll link to a Ryobi too. And if you've got a Milwaukee or something like that set of tools, I bet you that they probably make something like this too. But it's got a safety on it where you have to push that down. You have to kind of put your hand on it like that and push this down for it to work. And if you leave it very long, if I stand here and talk very long, then it wouldn't work. I pull the trigger, it wouldn't work. It wants you to let off and make sure you got to, you know you're safe. So got some good safety features on it. Really like it. And it will prune like a son of a gun. I'm telling you, you need to look at that. Look at the link below. Check it out. And plant some fall tomatoes if you can find them. It's too late to do them from seed unless you're in southern Florida or somewhere. But plant some tomatoes for fall. Fall is one of the best gardens you can raise. I think I'm fixing my raised beds over there. I think I'm going to put some squash in it. I think, or maybe some cabbage. I'm not sure yet. But Hoss is fixing to have some cabbage plugs, and I may just do that. But shoot, I mean, that's gonna look good. I'll show you the whole journey. But that Hosenator right there, he's half growed right now already. He's saying, get out the way, I'm fixing to go. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna plant him and run, watch him go. All right, hope you got something out of this. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out the cutters, but I hope you enjoyed the thought behind this, in that, we're going to plant in the center and stay away from those 2 root balls. And it's an experiment. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think anything's going to turn out poorly, but it's an experiment to see how well it does. Fall tomatoes, I mean, there's several experiments. Fall tomatoes, 1 per earth box instead of 2. Leaving the old root balls in there. So there's several things that are, unknowns, but I've got a pretty good idea. Earth box hasn't ever failed me yet, so I think it'll be all right. All right, I think that's it, and we are gone.